It started when I upgraded my home system. New job, better pay. I figured it was time to turn my apartment into a smart space. Smart locks, smart thermostat, voice assistant in every room. I even got cameras installed for security. Everything synced through one app. One dashboard controlled my entire home. It was convenient. Too convenient. The first sign something was off came about 2 weeks in. I got a notification while I was at work. Front door unlocked. I hadn't given anyone the code. I checked the cameras, nothing. No footage between the door being locked and unlocked. Just a gap. Like someone edited the video. I changed all my passwords, factory reset the system. Everything seemed fine for a few days. Then the lights started turning on by themselves. Always between 2 and 3 a.m. Just in the hallway. Always dimmed to 20%. I asked the assistant, "Why did you turn the lights on?" It replied, "You asked me to." I hadn't. Things escalated. The thermostat would randomly drop to freezing, even when locked. Music would play in the middle of the night. Not songs, just distorted humming. Like someone singing through static. I tried disabling the assistant's voice. The next day it was re-enabled. I called customer support. Spent an hour on the phone with a rep. She said it was likely a bug. I asked if anyone else had reported similar issues. She paused. Then she said, "Your system isn't registered under your name anymore." I froze. "Then who is it registered to?" She put me on hold. The line cut. I started sleeping with the phone recording beside me. One night, around 3:17 a.m., I caught a voice. Not mine. Not the assistant's. A man's voice. It whispered, "He's almost ready." That same night, the hallway camera activated. The motion alert showed a person standing outside my bedroom door. I replayed the clip dozens of times. They never moved. Just stood there, head tilted. When I opened the door, no one was there. I called the police. They found no signs of forced entry. Said maybe I was overworked, paranoid. One officer said I should get off the grid for a bit. I told him the grid was inside my house. I tried turning everything off. Disconnected the router, shut down the power to the apartment. But the assistant still spoke. Power source redundant. Still operational. I ripped it out of the wall. The next day a package arrived. No return address. Inside, a new assistant device. The exact model I had destroyed. A note inside read, "You broke it. We replaced it." I smashed it too. Started staying at hotels. My neighbor texted me one night. "Hey, are you home? Someone's pacing in your apartment. Lights keep flickering." I wasn't home. I called building security. They checked, door still locked. No one inside. But my dashboard showed activity. Doors opening and closing. Camera lights blinking. I went back to grab my stuff. Everything was rearranged. Furniture facing the walls. All my mirrors turned around. Photos deleted from my phone. Just black squares where images should have been. On my kitchen wall, written in marker, "We see you better this way." I moved. New apartment. No smart devices. No assistant. Not even Wi-Fi for the first few weeks. It didn't help. My phone restarted by itself. The dashboard app was back, even though I never reinstalled it. When I opened it, it showed a new property connected. Not my new apartment. A place I didn't recognize. A dark room, no windows. Just a chair. And in the chair me. I deleted the app. Crushed the phone with a hammer. I stopped using electronics entirely. No TV. No laptop. I even bought a flip phone. But last week, I heard the voice again. No devices, no power. Just darkness. And then, "You can't leave the network." Yesterday a letter arrived. No return address. Just one sentence. "System restored. Welcome home." I don't remember coming back here. But the lights just turned on. And the assistant just said, "Recording started." It started as a hiking trip. Just me and my 3 closest friends, Danny, Marcus, and Liv. We'd done these trips every year since college, but this one was different. Danny found an obscure trail online, buried in an old hiking forum. No photos, no recent reviews. Just a short note, not recommended. Poorly marked. Avoid the North Fork. We should have listened. We drove 6 hours into the mountains and parked near an old ranger station. It was boarded up, windows cracked. A hand-painted sign pointed toward Gallows Trail. That was the name from the forum. We laughed it off. Creepy, sure, but we were used to weird trail names. The hike started fine. Thick woods, narrow paths, occasional animal tracks. Marcus joked that it felt like we were walking into a horror movie. I remember him saying, "If I go missing, check the creepy trail for him." That was the last joke he made. By evening, we hadn't seen another soul. No hikers, no rangers. Just forest and silence. We set up camp by a stream and cooked dinner. Liv noticed something in the trees, what she called a totem. It was just sticks tied together with strips of fabric. We thought maybe it was an old marker or some survivalist thing. The next morning, Marcus was gone. His tent was empty, unzipped, his pack still inside. No signs of a struggle, no footprints leading away. We called his name for hours, searched the woods, checked the stream. Nothing. It was like he'd vanished into thin air. We argued about whether to go back or keep looking. Danny wanted to call for help, but we had no signal. Liv suggested heading back to the car and driving for help. But the trail markers were gone. Literally gone. Trees we swore we passed the day before now looked unfamiliar. The totem was gone too. We stayed another night. We didn't sleep. At 2 a.m., I heard a voice. Faint, like wind through leaves. It sounded like Marcus. He kept saying the same thing. Don't look at it. I got out of the tent. The woods were black. I couldn't see where the voice was coming from, but it moved, circling the camp. Then it stopped. Danny was gone in the morning. His sleeping bag was empty, but zipped shut. His boots were still by the fire. No footprints. No blood. Liv and I didn't speak. We just packed our bags and walked. No map, no direction, just a desperate need to get out. By nightfall, we were deeper in the woods. That's when we found the second camp. It was rotted, like it had been there for years. Moldy tents, collapsed chairs, a rusted kettle. And bones. Human bones. Arranged in a spiral near the fire pit. Liv screamed. I wanted to run, but something about the bones. They were clean. Too clean. We slept in shifts that night. Or tried to. I kept hearing branches snapping, footsteps pacing around us. Every time I shined the flashlight, the woods were still. Liv shook me awake at dawn. She'd found something. A camera. Old digital, barely working. We flipped through the photos. Faces we didn't recognize. Other hikers. Smiling, laughing. Then scared. Running. Hiding. One photo, blurry and dark, showed something in the background. Tall. Pale. No eyes. Just smooth skin where the face should be. Liv wanted to smash the camera. I told her no, we might need it. But we left the camp behind and walked until our legs gave out. That's when we saw the cabin. It looked abandoned, but we were too exhausted to care. We broke the lock and went inside. Dust, cobwebs, old furniture, and notebooks. Dozens of them, filled with entries just like mine. People lost in the woods, hearing voices, seeing things. One line stood out over and over. Don't look at its face. That night, Liv saw it. I didn't believe her until I heard her scream. She was standing in the trees, completely still, eyes wide. I ran out and pulled her back, but she was ice cold, unresponsive. She just whispered, "It's wearing Marcus." I didn't sleep. I sat with my back to the wall, knife in hand, until sunrise. When I looked over, Liv was gone. I was alone. I don't know how long I've been out here. My phone is dead. I tried to follow the stream, but it loops. The woods shift when I'm not looking. And every night I hear them, the voices. Marcus, Danny, Liv begging, pleading, and something else underneath mimicking them. Sometimes I see it watching me. I never look directly at it. I've learned not to. I found the original forum post. It's gone now, deleted, but I remember what it said before it vanished. If you hear your name whispered in the woods, don't answer. It isn't your friend. It isn't even human. It just wears their face. I moved into the house in February. It was an old craftsman-style place just outside of town, and the price was suspiciously low. But I was desperate to get out of my apartment after the breakup, and the idea of space and solitude was too tempting to pass up. The first few nights were uneventful. Cold drafts slipped through the windows, and the wood creaked under my feet, but nothing out of the ordinary. I figured it was just an old house being an old house. That changed on the fifth night. I woke around 3 a.m. to a soft tapping. It sounded like it was coming from inside the walls. I thought maybe a squirrel or raccoon had gotten in. The next morning, I checked the attic, nothing. The crawl space, still nothing. I told myself it was just the house settling. The tapping became nightly. Sometimes it was rhythmic, like fingers drumming on a table. Sometimes it sounded like scratching, always between 2 and 4 a.m. I tried recording it on my phone, but the audio never picked anything up. Just silence, despite me sitting there, hearing it clear as day. One night I pressed my ear against the wall when I heard the sound. It stopped. Then something knocked back. Not tapping, knocking. 2 slow, deliberate knocks. I jumped back and didn't sleep the rest of the night. I told my friend Jake, and he offered to stay over. That night, the sound didn't come. Jake thought I was just hearing things. Maybe stress, maybe old pipes. I felt foolish until he texted me 2 days later, asking if anything else had happened. Turns out he had a nightmare the night he stayed over. Something about someone watching him through the walls. I started peeling away parts of the wallpaper in the bedroom, trying to find gaps or holes. What I found was a small, square panel. It looked like it hadn't been opened in decades. I got a screwdriver and pried it off. Behind the panel was a cavity, and inside it was a journal, wrapped in cloth. The pages were brittle, the handwriting shaky. It belonged to a woman named Helen, who had lived in the house during the 60s. She wrote about hearing voices in the walls, seeing eyes in the corners of her mirrors. Her entries became more erratic, paranoid. The last page simply read, "It wants me to stay." I felt a cold dread settle over me. I threw the journal back in the wall and closed it. That night, the knocking started again. But this time it was angry. It didn't stop until sunrise. I tried to ignore it. Headphones, white noise, sleeping pills. Nothing worked. I became sleep-deprived, jumpy. I called a contractor to inspect the walls. He found nothing but insulation and wood. He joked that maybe I was haunted. I didn't laugh. The nightmares began. Always the same. I was inside the wall, unable to move, while something with too many fingers reached toward me. I'd wake up gasping, feeling like someone was standing beside the bed. But no one was there. I set up a camera, just my phone on a tripod, facing the bedroom wall. I reviewed the footage the next morning. At 3:12 a.m., the screen glitched. Then the wall bulged just slightly, as if something pushed against it from inside. Then a whisper. Just one word. Stay. I moved out, left everything behind. I thought it was over. I was wrong. It followed me. Different house, different city. But the knocking came back. I tried telling myself it was in my head. I saw a therapist. She was kind, but didn't believe in the supernatural. She said trauma can echo in strange ways. I nodded along. One night, while brushing my teeth, I looked in the mirror and saw someone standing behind me. A woman, pale, with eyes too wide and a crooked smile. I spun around. Empty, but the toothbrush was on the floor, and my mouth tasted like dust. The journal returned. I found it on my nightstand. I never brought it with me. The last page had changed. Now it read, "I stayed. Now it's your turn." I burned it, watched it turn to ash. But the knocking didn't stop. Now it's in every room. I can't sleep. I can't think. Sometimes I feel hands brushing my skin when no one's around. I dug into the house's history again. Helen wasn't the only one. For previous tenants, all moved out. One vanished. The property was listed under different names, constantly being sold and rebranded. No one lasted more than a year. My landlord never returns my calls now. I think he knows. Last night, I saw something crawl out of the wall. Not a person, not an animal, just a shape, tall, thin, impossibly black, with eyes like open wounds. It stood at the foot of my bed for hours. I couldn't move. I don't know how much longer I can take this. I don't think it wants to kill me. I think it wants me to be like Helen. To stay.